Cut daisies and unicorns, and here we are. It's a trailer Friday for season 9, episode number 8. So it is the infinity number, as we bring up in the full episode as well.
Yep. Hey, so great news, everybody, for their Friday.
Yeah.
We're not talking about UFOs.
Nope.
We're not talking about conspiracy theories.
Nope.
We're not talking about the weather.
No.
We did mention that it was cloudy and overcast, but
that was a quick reference.
Yeah,
then.
very quick pass by. Quick pass by. What else aren't we talking about?
Let me see some of the other topics that people don't want us to talk about. We don't talk about politics, so no. Or political figures.
No.
So we don't do that. Yeah, so some of the things that, what do they say? Don't bring up politics or religion.
Right. We do talk about
We do. So we do enter into a conversation where it says don't talk about, but we do talk about religion on Sundays. So.
Yeah, we don't beat down on religiosity at all.
Yeah.
No.
But we do enter into a realm that can be divided.
Yeah.
And is divided.
But if you're looking for a really, there's so much good that happens in this episode, and if for no other reason, if you listen or watch this episode, you will see into, like, it's almost like somebody took a scalpel and opened up our brains, and you can peer into just a little bit of how we think and process. As
spiritual beings.
Yeah. I come up with a new denominational word, and so you'll have to listen to find out what that is. The other thing is, I know neither one of us are really great at math, but I come up with an equation that really is beneficial and helpful. But you're going to have to listen. I'm not telling you about it today.
So listen up, everybody.
But if you are navigating through what does it look like to, figure out about God, maybe you've been on a spiritual journey where you're wondering how does this all fit together and things like that, then you will see the funneling approach. And I think I got worked up about once. That's one time it happened, but it was in complete defense of those who will be troubled by our vagueness. Yeah,
and I think that when you're looking at the course of the conversation, as we do talk about, is that there are multiple ways in which, we could have spent hours, multiple hours talking on this subject. And that's where I think some people will land and say, "Oh, but you didn't get into X, Y, or Z." And you're right. We didn't. We didn't go down every single avenue that we could, fully exhaust. We didn't.
We were fully prepared not to cover everything.
Yeah.
So that we could have a listener-friendly time frame on our podcast.
Right. Yeah. So there were conversations that were had. I mean, we brought up, because where it extended out of was when we were talking about chaos in us and around us, that we brought in some 12-step or recovery kind of language at the end of the last episode. And then it led to, all right, so let's talk about the whole deity section. So there's a little bit more talk about, language of recovery and 12-step and where it leads us to our conversation of higher power or deity, all the things that are in that realm.
Yeah. And Phil did a great job at the beginning of being able to identify within culture how outrage is really one of the major, if we were to do like interviews out on the street, outrage within Christianity seems to be a very, very active
Yeah.
activity. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's prevalent, so much so that people who are not part of it recognize it as Christian love.
Yeah. There you go.
That's how the Christians express their love, is outrage.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing we did, there's a $10 word in there. You'll have to listen for it, but I use it a couple different times. If I got $10 for every time I use the word, I'd be able to buy us both lunch.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So how's your weekend shaping up out there in podcast land? Hopefully with a Friday. If you're listening to the trailer on Friday, then you're looking at the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, summertime, wherever you're at, I'm sure there's always things to be able to do. I know in Chicagoland, there's always things to do. Festivals pop up, street festivals, and block parties, and all kinds of stuff is always happening around. Now, I know with Chicago, we're also going to be dealing with rain the rest of this week and into the weekend, dipping in and out of like possible chances of rain. Saturday is going to be full of rain. I mean, so we're looking at all kinds of stuff, that rain could spoil.
Do.
But there's always something to do.
Yep.
Always something to do and people to be with. Or no people to be with, if you so choose.
I work hard all week long so I don't have to work on the weekend.
Yeah. There you go.
That's where I'm going. So hopefully you get to get in some fun family time, and you get to also just enjoy, or maybe because of your workload, you're heading into the weekend and you get to work on the house.
Maybe. Yeah. So maybe a Saturday looks like Home Depot and Bed Bath & Beyond. Who knows? Oh, boy. Yeah. So what is your weekend shaping up to be, Steve? You got house plans?
No. I've been working this week. So
so you actually do.
I mean,
you have no plans.
I had Domestic Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so I got all the wash caught up. I got, because I do mention in the podcast that we had a house guest. So now all of the house guesting is all put back in order. So first time in about 6 weeks that the inflatable mattress got pulled down and put away. Kind of interesting though, was at Aldi on Sunday, and the lovely grocery store. I think previously owned by Germans.
Sounds like it would be. I don't know.
Aldi and Trader Joe both are German-based grocery stores owned by two brothers, and one's in the north and one's in the south. And then it was so good at what they did that they brought it to the States. So Aldi
and Trader Joe.
I think it's Trader Joe. Yeah, because Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, right?
It is now,
yeah. So, that happened. But when I was there's we've talked about this and our listeners know, there's the aisle of shame, which is just all the various things that they could sell, trinkets and rugs and platters and cutting boards and all that stuff. They had inflatable paddleboard. And the brand is a known brand. I looked it up on the interwebs because I had my phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
Which is not always the case.
Yeah.
A lot of times I just put my phone on a countertop and I walk away for multiple hours, and people are like, "How come you don't answer your phone?" I'm like, "Because I wasn't around my phone. I don't have to answer it if it's not with me." So But yeah, I looked it up, and it was like $75 off of what it retails at other big box stores.
Wow.
Got a really hot smoking deal. Mm-hmm. So I got an inflatable paddleboard. But then I was telling Amy last night, and this paddleboard, it had the instructions. But the instructions aren't with words. It just shows you pictures of how you're supposed to put things together, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
I
No,
like
it's
color
fine,
books.
yeah.
I mean, and
Sometimes words just mess you up.
but the words on the other side of the page,
Yeah.
they go and it's basically a 6-item list of warnings. Like, hey, be aware of the weather.
Oh.
Hey, if you're going paddleboarding, let people know that you're going, and know when you're planning to return. So if anything happens to you, then they can send a search and rescue and stuff like this.
Fair enough.
And it's like, and be aware of your surroundings when you're paddleboarding. I'm like, I would have never been worried about being taken out to sea. If you have a paddle with you, shouldn't you be able to navigate with your paddleboard?
You would think so. I mean, if you've never paddleboarded or rowed or, I mean, like anything with a paddle in the water, maybe you're like, I don't know how this thing works, but it doesn't take long.
How's that old tune go? Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Right. Yeah. So anyway,
maybe they're covering their tracks a little bit, right? CYA.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's like, hey, I told Amy I didn't know I was supposed to be afraid of paddleboarding, and she's like, well, I'm not going to be on that paddleboard at Tower Beach. Yeah. It's wide open and pretty Riptide-esque. I mean, you know, like I think the beaches have been shut down more this summer than in years past, just because of the weather. And
wow.
Now that you mentioned rain on Saturday, maybe I won't be paddleboarding on Saturday. Maybe I'll be doing, something else.
Also, you could consider Chicagoland. Weather always changes.
That's true.
So you're like, all of a sudden there are going to be an open window of 4 hours that there's no rain. So, just watch for it, and then say, hey, we'll play it by ear.
We are going to play it by ear, but not with our ears.
Right.
Yeah.
With your eyes.
Yeah.
Play it by eye.
Yeah. So
that could happen. It's a good purchase.
So that could happen. I mean,
you could be one of those beautiful people on the paddle boards, like standing up and just doing the whole majestic.
I don't know that I will. The last time I was on a paddleboard, I didn't stand up at all.
Oh, you sat, or
I sat.
Oh,
yeah.
Or did you go on your belly?
On my belly.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have only watched paddleboarding. I've never done paddleboarding, so.
Well, and we have a couple foam belly boards kind of thing, and stuff, and yeah. So it was one of those things that as we had people coming through that, Amy just said, "Man, we should really think about it." And then we were just walking by. I'm like, "Hey, look at this," and it's a good deal. And so that way. If people...
Did you get 2 then?
No.
Oh.
No.
So Amy cannot share in the joy of paddleboarding with you?
No, actually, it's probably more for Amy than it is for me. I mean, I'll just use... I love the water. And I'll probably actually... I get in the water maybe 3 or 4 times a year out of all the times that we go down to the beach.
Yeah.
When Micah and Bree and Wesley were here, I built a sandcastle all day. I mean, or worked on building a sandcastle. And my little buddy Connor, he came over and helped me, and then his sister and his other friend, and he came up and he's like, Connor's like, "Hey, do you mind if I help you?" I said, "No, come on out, man. Let's." He goes, "I know how to do these really well." And so we had a couple.
Confidence is necessary.
Very confident, little guy, 7, 8 years old maybe.
Yeah.
And and so then he basically filled up buckets with sand and was, doing little things around this castle-esque moat and little village of sandness that I was working on.
Sandness. Have you seen some of the art from those? I mean, like, it's insane, the detail that people get to on these sand creatures that they put together.
We're not in that sand zone. Yeah. Like, the sand that we have was good, but as I was working on it, I was playing through my mind some of those different sand sculptures and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing.
I still don't understand how they make them stay like they do.
I know.
I don't know. But it's also funny how those sand creatures, also the sculptures, can be so easily wiped away.
Oh, yeah.
Like, water comes up, and as soon as it hit, it's all going to go.
Yeah, the story of my life.
Right.
Yeah. But then, we went down a couple days later, and I had a book with me, and I was like, I am not going to recreate the sand, all the sand village, or anything like that.
No sand villages.
No sand villages.
Sand houses.
Castles in the sand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going
on. Whatever happens, it's going to happen.
It is true.
I got into a major project last Sunday, and so we were working on the patio and then putting blocks in our walkway, and just oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm cool if we don't do that. I'm in the middle of. I really am, and then I'm firing glaze fire, my second fire of the week, and so I think one of the things. This is hilarious too. So like, I haven't been advertising my website for my pottery,
Yeah.
And I've only sold a couple items this year, but to be able to open up a business account at the bank, I had to have a Illinois number for my business. And I was not that, but Illinois is crazy.
For sure.
Well, they're so crazy that even though I hadn't sold anything, they sent me a letter that they were going to take me to collections for $0.
Because they believed you still sold something?
Well, they're just like, you have to go in, and so quarterly you have to go in and you have to fill it out to report. And if you're not doing that, then they're like, well, then we're gonna, I don't know. So, but where I'm at is I've got enough stuff made now that I need to update the website and get my product on. So maybe Saturday is a day on the computer.
Yeah, I think we made a reference to your website on the podcast, but
yeah, back in the day when I was working on the website,
and I think we even pulled it up with a visual for those who watch. But yeah. So there's still some work. Well, but it's good that you've sold some pieces.
Well, so. I owed the state of Illinois $9.
Oh. When you didn't sell anything, they still made you...
I had sold a couple pieces, I went and put in, put it in, and then they calculated the tax and all that. Yeah. But Illinois is very high. Well, they high taxes.
It's high taxes.
It's astronomically high.
It's a blue state.
So, but yeah. So I don't know. How about you? You got anything fun going on?
Probably just catching up on some rest.
Yeah, there you go.
We had all the grandkids, 5 of the 6.
Yeah.
And they were here for a good amount of time, and we were always trying to do something to keep them entertained.
Yeah.
And so now it's trying to find back a sense of some order. Schedule wise, all right, sure. We can kind of catch up on some of that. And so, as far as I know, there's nothing that's immediate. Like we have to get this, but
right.
So other than that, you're just planning, got some travel that I need to do end of next week and then middle of the week following. So a couple of quick trips the next 2 weeks. So
travel away,
flying to places. One that I've been, one that I haven't been. So it's near a Amish community in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So there's some Amish out there.
Yeah.
So it's just north of the Lancaster.
Well, be careful when you drive. You don't want to hit a horse.
That's true.
Yeah.
No horses will be harmed in the process of my travel. Hopefully.
All right. Well, whatever you got going on this weekend, folks, hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. It should be fun.
And if you have nothing going on, you can tune in Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, and listen to episode 8.
Right. As we uncover all things higher power and deity. Not all things.
No, we don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So, until next week, be well to each other. Peace.